something. And for Michel, he put it most poetically when he said that it was something he took to like a gust of wind. A beautiful choice of language, actually, because for him it was that sense of purpose that in life he was lacking. He said very frankly that he had no ambitions whatsoever in life before taking up Boccia, and thought that sport would simply never be an option for him, would be something that he would be able to do. He's a player who, at 26, is getting stronger and stronger with every single competition. It's very much such a thing as Paralympic form. You peak at exactly the right time for the biggest competition of all.
So 6 pools of 24 athletes, making their way down to 8 for the quarterfinals. The top 2 second-placed athletes qualified into the quarterfinals. Now we're down to the final 4 in the BC3 semi-finals. There is a match to determine the bronze medal as well. I'm sure these 2 athletes will see nothing but gold as it stands. The target is clear at this point in the semi-finals. So 3 balls remaining for the Australian of this end. 1 minute 45 left on the clock to do it. And he is defending well from Adam Peshka here, trying to block as much as he can for the line for Adam Peshka. That ball is close enough to the jack. Just pushed on his own ball to give it a nudge a little bit closer towards the jack. Celebrations from the Australian team for that move. Adam Peshka then, plenty of time left on the clock. And on 4 the clock, balls remaining in this end. Working alongside his assistant, Ivana. Interesting line that one. Hit the jack a little bit behind that one. Hit the jack a little bit would have actually that one. Knocked it out of play with the pace that he had. Just trying to knock that away, and move to knock that knock on. Move to knock that a little bit closer. That on the court. Quite worked out at that angle. However, it has opened the jack up a lot more now for Adam Peshka, removing it from the blue ball.
Now the response from Michel. Very experienced internationally, debut back at the Asia and Oceania Championships in 2013. That leading into his first World Championship in 2014. As is the case across the lion's share of sports at the Olympics and Paralympic Games, we've often been referring to World Championships that were some years ago as the most recent edition, due to the most extraordinary of circumstances that served as a backdrop for these games.
Many of these players haven't played competitively since 2019. In fact, none of them have, so it's been a really interesting contest. It may not have been at competitions, but the training these athletes do is something else.
There we come to that interesting debate between the extent to which training can truly complicates match conditions. With this being ultimately a sport that is so reaction-based, that is so dependent on the gambits that your opponent throws at you. Variety of opposition, very much the spice of life in the sport of boccia in terms of developing one's own game.
So that looks like the jack is out of play. So what happens now is the referee, Selena Hernandez, will pick up that white ball, the jack, and it will be placed in a very different position. It gets put into the middle of the court on the X. So there's the cross that it is going to be put onto. Pretty much all of those balls that have been played in this end are almost redundant compared to the balls that we're about to have played, because as it stands, Adam Peszka's ball is closest. However, you would assume here for the final ball from the Australian Daniel Michel, by default, he will be able to get the ball closer to the middle of the court. 30 seconds for his final ball then. If the time runs out, he won't be able to take this final delivery. It is from when the ball leaves the pointer, so it can go down to 1 second even. It's just as it leaves the pointer. So, unsurprisingly there, Daniel Michel rather has managed to get the ball closer, but Adam Peszka, even though he knocked the jack out of play, is still in an okay position here, because he's got 2 balls remaining of his 6 in this second end.
I'll be feeling some degree of optimism, confidence with the way this match is developing. With just cause. Watching on, the aforementioned Selena Hernandez. And one of the younger officials taking part in these Paralympic Games. Mexico, and for her it's something that she's spoken of, just as the athletes would, that it's been a dream come true for her to have the opportunity to officiate at the Games, the 16th Summer Paralympiad. And what she is very hopeful of, just as all the athletes are, is that more people will want to officiate based on watching her. Not just the athletes that play an enormous role in the growth of a sport in a particular nation.
1 minute about to be called for Adam Peszka.
1 minute.
2 balls to do with him. Pacey first ball. He does lead this match overall 3-0 thanks to a 3-0 win in the first end. As it stands, it would be 1 blue. However, 1 ball remaining for Adam Peszka. And we'll start running out of time soon. We have 30 seconds left on the clock.
The most favourable of angles for Peszka to line up.
Unlucky. Not quite enough pace on that one. So, as it stands, 1-0 in that end goes to Daniel Michel. But it is still Adam Peszka who leads the match 3-1 at the halfway point in the individual BC3 semi-final here at the Ariake Gymnastics Centre.
Still some way to go. This feels a quite open contest. first little response given by Daniel Michel to the 3 scored by Peshka in the opening end. Didn't quite get the last shot right of that first end, the Czech athlete, but he's made a strong start, an imposing start, considering that he's the lower ranked of the 2 athletes by several places.
An impressive first Paralympic Games for Adam Peshka. Into the semi-finals at the first time of asking. Whereas Daniel Michel finished 15th in the individual BC3 Paralympic Games in Rio in 2016.
And what is perhaps worth bearing in mind when we talk about world rankings, they can be quite a blunt instrument with which to measure an athlete's success, especially in these extraordinary times whereby in a lot of sports, including this one, world rankings have been frozen and just held as they are. Now, that doesn't take into account how much better an athlete might actually have got in the intervening 12 months or so, almost 18 months in the case of the ranking hiatus from March of 2020. So we are underway in the third end. And some length put on the jack.
Adam Peshka setting quite a long jack. First ball to be delivered. Always easier when you've set the jack to know exactly what you want to do next. That's the other thing with these games, 4 ends, you get 2 chances to set the jack. So 2 chances really to take control of your specific end. You have to think about that in the end before. Wherever the game is at, or if you're trailing or if you're winning, that depends on where you set the jack for the next end. That's why this game is continuously changing all the time as the game progresses.
One of the most apposite sports psychology points that was ever made to me in a conversation I had with a precision sports player was there's real benefit to throwing in a surprise tactically to your opponent. Just be aware of the fact you might surprise yourself as well. That deviations from one's own game plan can be very troublesome things to yourself as well as to your opponent.
First ball then from the Australian. So that's going to go a little bit too wide of the jack there if it was going to have enough pace to make its way anywhere close. As you can see there, quite far off from the jack. Needs a little bit more pace on that one to get it to reach. It's only the first ball of this end, so we've got plenty of time and plenty of balls left to build up an attack.
He's played a real role, Daniel Michel, in helping more people discover the sport of boccia. He's really something of a star in Australia, quite rightly so. Very much part of that is the ethos of these entire Paralympic Games, the We the 15 campaign, the decade-long quest led by a number of institutions alongside the governing body of Paralympic sports, which is to close the gap in all matters of accessibility and opportunity for people with disabilities. The 15, alluding to the 15% of the world's population, 1.2 billion people. It's a legacy of these Paralympic Games that starts here in Tokyo.
Boccia was initially designed for people with cerebral palsy, but it is now played by athletes as well who have any kind of neurological impairment that does affect their motor function. That is the BC4 category. Came on to the Paralympics back in New York in 1984. That's when it made its debut. It is now practiced in over 50 countries, and it's picking up a lot of pace and a lot more interest.
Very interesting games, those, the 1984 incarnation, New York, and also held in Stoke Mandeville in the United Kingdom. There, for so many, the spiritual home of the Paralympic movement, going back to the 1940s. Dr. Ludwig Gutmann's spinal injury centre at the hospital in Buckinghamshire grew into the Stoke Mandeville Games, the international games in 1952, leading to really the birth of the Paralympic movement. Boccia now finds himself as an enormous part of, and a growing sport, a massively growing sport as well in terms of its participation worldwide.
The roots go back to Greece, even though boccia is an Italian word. But players used to throw large stones at a stone target. Now, in 2021, it's definitely had a few changes. Not sure how well stones might roll. Pebbles maybe more.
Well, there's nothing that is concrete at the moment in this contest between Daniel Michel and Adam Peszka.
So, N3 underway. 3-1 is the scoreline to Adam Peszka from the Czech Republic, the world number 8. Daniel Michel going to run out of balls here. See what Daniel Michel is trying to do there and build up a defence around the jack. It is Adam Peszka's ball, that red ball, the first ball that was delivered onto the court for this end, is still the closest one. Final ball from Daniel Michel then of this end. It's a pacey one. And it's excellent. He's just pushed on one of his balls to be closest to the jack, whilst also enough pace to keep a second ball closer than that red ball from Adam Peszka.
That was judged exquisitely by the 26-year-old. Doesn't feel like an entirely comfortable lead for Peszka. 3-1. Plenty of time for things to change.
He is in a very good position here, however, with 4 minutes left on the clock and 5 balls still remaining to break through that defence that Daniel Michel has created in this third end. One more end to come off the back of this, which will be the deciding end, unless we go to a tie break when the scores are level. This match will determine who heads into the final. And that is just a little bit too wide, and it's gone off the court and almost onto another one. A lot of pace on that one. Dead ball. So that could be a penalty. Adam Peshka, but let's just watch.
She sees a bright light, feels a presence, in a rush of pleasant feelings. She sees a bright light, feels a presence, in a rush of pleasant feelings.
Dirt ball does go out, but difficult line there for Adam Peshka. You can see from that camera shot we got there, you can see exactly what he has facing him.
Perhaps have no idea of mind and consciousness have been misunderstood. Concern for others, a greater interest in spiritual matters, enhanced appreciation of or renewed sense of purpose in life.
Tricky.
Less interest in materialism and a greater importance placed on values such as love.
One minute then called for Adam Peshka to deliver his final two balls. He's struggling a little bit to break that defence that Daniel Michel has set up with his deliveries.
In time, the final delivery. Trajectory not quite there.
So final delivery from Adam Peszka there. Interesting to note as well, during that end, there was a penalty that was received because the box was touching the line while throwing the ball from Daniel Michel. So, as it stands at the end of end 4, Adam Peszka will get a penalty. The referee gave the signal during that end. Let's concentrate on this third end for now and see who takes the points from this one. 3-1 is the scoreline between Adam Peszka and Daniel Michel.
And the athletes now wait and watch. We all do.
Head referee has been called over just to confirm this one because it's quite close. It will be one at least to Adam Peszka. To Daniel Michel, my apologies.
That's cool. Yeah.
But then give him a 3-2 still deficit, but slicing into that advantage just a little bit, isn't he? Heading into the final end. So it looks like it's 1. Let's wait for the referee just to confirm that. From what we could hear on the microphones, it sounded like 1 for blue. Two for blue. Ball's being collected then, so ball's just being collected by the assistants there between Daniel Michel and Adam Peszka, but let's just wait for the confirmation on that one to make sure it was 2 balls. So it looks like
There are a few who are just wondering exactly what the confirmed decision is. We'll bring you that just as soon as we have received that clarification on the scoreboard as well. With these athletes now, their attention will have to turn into getting ready for the final end to take place.
Meu, no boteco, malandro, no boteco. Aí eu senti que eles estavam, tipo, querendo ter o momento deles, assim, porque meu pai, mano, já deu um
One thing is clear, it's going to be absolutely all to play for as we head into the final end. It's going to be tight, it's going to be close, and there we have that confirmation of the aforementioned penalty ball.
the penalty because of Daniel Michel. Box outside where it needed to be. It was halfway through end 3 that we got the confirmation from Selena Hernandez to say there would be a penalty ball, and this is a great opportunity now for Adam Peszka to score in an end that he may not have scored in otherwise.
Sabe o que o tio Pereira fez, mano? Eu nunca vi um molecoso ser tão... Eu aprendi a ser pai, tá ligado? Tio, eu aprendi a ser tio com ele.
All balls have been removed from the playing area.
Você tem que ser chato. Você tem que ser chato, sério.
Will have that
Se você é
1
pai,
minute
mano, você não é chato, você é um otário.
Throw the penalty ball. The ball stops inside that target box without touching the outside line.
Malandro, o tio Pereira...
Side throwing the penalty ball is awarded 1 additional point.
Mano, eu nunca vi tanta...
However,
we go, the 2 points are registered by Daniel Michel, which means that we are level at 3 apiece going into what is an intriguingly set up final end.
It's like Adam Peshka missed that penalty, so it becomes 3-all in this individual BC3 semi-final match. Daniel Michel and Adam Peshka. If the scoreline remains the same at the end of this final end, we go into a tie-break.
Well, a dramatic and drawn-out conclusion to the previous end, and a test for the officials as well. And all of that leads us to what is effectively a single-end shootout between these two players. 3-all. And a positive conclusion for Daniel Michel, having trailed 3-0 after the first. Is the momentum with him? We shall discover. Certainly he has control in the sense of casting the jack. Graduate of Commerce from the University of Wollongong.
First ball is thrown, and it's a good ball from the Australian. 3-all is the scoreline heading into this final and deciding end. So a penalty in the previous end. Adam Peshka unfortunately missed, meaning Daniel Michel, the one that takes the points in that third end.
One wonders if that will be one of those moments that all parties go back and ponder wistfully. Well, we shall discover the ifs, buts and maybes of elite level sport. What is absolutely clear is the gentleman playing now has got to put that out of his mind. Disregard the bit of a missed opportunity. Still all to play for.
Can't wallow in the disappointment of things like that in a semi-final. He would have wanted to capitalise clearly, but we've still got a chance for a win here. 3-all.
It's one of the absolute central pillars of sports psychology, isn't it? The ability to compartmentalise things and divorce yourself from the disappointment of what might have been. Move straight on to the next shot, the next point, whatever it may be in your particular sport.
I think we might have to get the measurement out for this one. Always harder for us to see because we get a shadow of the ball as well. However, at this point, Selena Hernandez needs to know whose go it is. The balls are said to be exactly the same measurement between the two, then it actually will remain with Adam Peshka.
They say, don't they, in the sport of Boccia, you make it, you break it.
And it is Adam Peshka who is actually closer at that point. Cheers around the centre for one of the other matches going on, but we'll concentrate on this individual BC3 semi-final between Daniel Michel and Adam Peshka. Michel representing Australia, Peshka representing the Czech Republic. And it is the world number 4 versus the world number 8. And it is 3-3 rather, on points as it stands.
It was indeed 3-0. It's been quite a comeback. Quite a comeback from Daniel Michel. It's a very different feeling sort of match from some of those highly comfortable wins he enjoyed early on in the competition. As one would imagine things to be when getting to the very last stages of the tournament.
Pacey ball. Smashed into the jack. The ball is out. However, it did the right job and just opened the jack up a little bit more for a better line for the Australian. Adam Peshka set up a nice defence despite only having 2 balls on the court as it stands. So you can see Daniel Michel taking a good hard look at that to work out the exact line that he's after.
Go down to the very last second, the very last delivery. It's going to keep us guessing. Got something of a flip a coin about it, this one. I think that it could go in either direction.
If we go to a tie break, we will have to flip a coin to decide who starts. So 2.5 minutes on the clock for the Australian at this point, with 3 balls remaining. Did concede a penalty. Probably just trying to be a little bit more careful with the positioning there for this final end, because this could be won with a point. Shorter ball here. Maybe trying to push on the blue closest to the jack. And that's exactly what he did.
Oh, that's out.
Good shot from the Australian. Nestling the blue alongside another blue, which, as you'll see from where Adam Peshka is, makes it a lot more difficult for the man from the Czech Republic.
Yes, it is going to require some very special shot making.
Left on the clock. 4 balls remaining. In this final end of the BC3 mixed individual semi-final. I bet they can think that final is ever so close at this point. Excellent pushing. Daniel Michel's ball out of contention and off the court, giving him one less ball to worry about. And Michel has the closest ball to the jack as it stands, but for how much longer?
It's an interesting supposition you make, them being aware of how close the final is, and you wonder with all athletes, are they able to block that out completely? Are they able to simply play the single shot that's right in front of them, or is there that slight internal monologue just coming in, thinking, yes, this is a normal shot, but it's not really a normal shot, it's a very important shot.
Every athlete, I'm sure, will be different at this stage of the competition. You often hear athletes saying they take every competition or every race or every match or whatever it is on face value, but you'd have to think at this point, in the final end of the semi-final, when you're 3-all, you can't help but think, I'm pretty close here. So it is Daniel Michel who takes his penultimate ball of the match, of the end, and potentially the semi-finals if we don't go to a tie-break. Hernandez just putting out the torch here to see where the light shines through after this delivery from Daniel Michel. He's just pushing on his own blue ball to be a bit closer to that jack, but Adam Peshka is pretty close, and it still looks like it's Adam Peshka who holds the advantage in the final few moments of this semi-final match in the individual BC3.
Oh, it's a tight one, this, isn't it?
It is. It's a nervy old time. Final ball for the Australian. 30 seconds is called. He must take this delivery in the allotted time.
Very tempting here for an athlete to play too fast.
And for a slower ball, which doesn't quite reach. So,
Muted celebrations with the flag, are they well judged?
it's always interesting when you see the sidelines there and you see the two different teams at this point in the competition. The Australian team looking quite nervous and worried at this point, with the Czech Republic flag being shown by one of the team. Like he's asking for the score here.
Pressure on the officials too.
Time stops there.
That's why. No need to play it. Because the job has been done.
So, that's it then. Adam Peshka has booked himself a place into the finals of the individual BC3 Boccia tournament. He takes a 4-3 win over the Australian Daniel Michel. Adam Peshka in his first games in the Paralympics. And he puts himself in a good place to potentially win a gold medal.
What a performance from young Adam Peshka, world number 8, against a player 4 places higher in the world rankings. Debut Paralympian. This is absolutely superb from him.
And he missed a penalty, but it doesn't matter anymore because he's still taken this game 4-3. Confirmation there then in the individual BC3 semi-final. It is Adam Peshka who books himself a place into the finals of the matches here. And it will be Daniel Michel who still has a chance to fight it out for the bronze medal, of course, so he's still in medal contention. However, Adam Peshka will almost definitely win gold or silver here at the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games.
got to feel for Daniel Michel after a performance like that, after the kind of Paralympics he's had. He's played so well, he produced an excellent almost comeback. He was almost there, so close. He's up against it from the conclusion of the first end, trailing by 3 without reply, got back to 3 apiece, and then narrowly by 1 single point. We posed the question whether Boccia might be wondering what might have been with that penalty. Well, no, not the case, because he gets across the line just about. Great drama, great contest, and 2 splendid athletes.
Nail-biting finish to that match for sure. Thought we might have to get the popcorn out if we were going to go to a tie-break, but Adam Peshka managed to get it done in that final deciding end in the BC3 mixed individual semi-final. And what a performance. It's confirmation with Selena Hernandez here to sign off the match that everyone is happy with the final score. And this is the sort of thing I like to look at, the behind the scenes, ticking okay. Happy with all that, just to make sure the athletes are happy with the final scoreline, which is 4-3 to the man from the Czech Republic in his first Paralympic Games. World number 8 Adam Peshka is through to the finals. 7 of the Tokyo Paralympic Games here at the Ariake Gymnastics Centre. Day 4 of the Boccia tournament here in Japan. We've seen a fascinating tournament so far, but we're through to the semi-final matches now. Individual BC1 semi-final taking place here at the Ariake Gymnastics Centre. Court 4 is the one we're going to be watching, and we're up for an amazing competition between two incredible athletes.
David Smith of Great Britain to take on José de Oliveira of Brazil.
A lot of comments
and this is how they have reached this stage of the competition. Obviously, they would have done it with a whole sequence of victories. You don't get to this stage of the competition one away from a guaranteed Paralympic medal without accumulating a great run of results. And for David Smith, that loss to Eduardo Sanchez Reyes of Mexico in the group stage is something of a distant memory. The reigning Paralympic champion, the reigning world champion, the reigning European champion, Mr. Triple Crown. The finest out there, but that only lasts until your next match, until your next defeat, until your next victory, when everything begins again. The 32-year-old will now be taking on the most experienced athlete in the form of de Oliveira. It's the BC1 competition. It's the last 4. They're the opponent for David Smith of Great Britain, José de Oliveira, 44-year-old from Ribeirão Preto, the northeast part of São Paulo state.
It will be de Oliveira who starts this match, despite the warm-up just going underway at the moment with David Smith, but red always starts, so de Oliveira will be the first up after a coin toss to determine who goes first, and this is the story of David Smith so far.
It's a story that's got a pretty decent last couple of chapters as well, particularly his victory over Witsanu Wadbari in the quarter-final stage. 6-1 against the world number 2 ranked player. That lone blemish, as mentioned before, over Sanchez Reyes. He followed it up with a wonderful win over Nakamura Takumi in the final group match. Daniel Perez of Netherlands defeated 6-2 at the quarter-final stage by José de Oliveira. But what is most fascinating, perhaps, is not what has been, but what will be for this gentleman, because if you look at his track record, he's so often there or thereabouts. As we are introduced to Cam Wai-chun, the referee for this contest. But back to the Brazilians' track record. 4th in the individual competition in London, 6th in the individual competition in Rio, 6th in the team competition in Rio, 8th in the team competition in London. He's so often been almost on the podium. Almost. What of today?
Especially compared alongside the world number 1 in David Smith, who this is his 4th Paralympic Games. In Rio in 2016, he won gold in the individual BC1, he won gold in the team BC1, BC2 in 2008 in Beijing. He won silver in London in 2012, he won bronze for the team in BC1, BC2, 2012 London. I can go on.
Obviously we've got a match to play, but you're right, absolutely.
He's world champion as well, just to add a little bit more to the silverware. So, match getting underway here. There'll be 4 ends. Each player has 6 balls, and the target will be that white ball that has just been set, called the jack. And you must be able to get your ball. So, in David Smith's case, the blue balls, and
in
Oliveira's, the red ball
is the best decision.
must be closest to
Always
that jack.
remember this.
The more
Sleep
balls
is the
you can
best.
get
What
closer
can do
compared to your
for yourself.
opponent determines the scoreline.
When put that way, it all sounds so much simpler, doesn't management is the psychology of every single contest, but particularly the psychology of a semi-final match. And when you are playing against somebody, looking at it from the Oliveira's perspective, who always wins the semi-finals, and you are the player that tends not to win the semi-finals, that tends to be almost there. One wonders the extent to which that factors into his thinking at all.
Boccia comes in 4 categories: BC1, BC2, BC3 and BC4. Good start from David Smith there, immediately going quite defensive, rather, attacking is the word I was looking for there, with a lob. As he tries to book his place into the finals. BC1 eligible for assistance, so the team members you see behind both the players are their assistants. They can interact about what they want to do next in the game. The assistants do face the court as well. And these players also will play in the BC1, BC2 teams games as well. So chances for these athletes elsewhere as well to win medals, as well as the individual mixed games.
That is where De Oliveira had success at the Pan American Games in Lima in 2019, part of the team that took a silver medal. Beaten on that occasion by Argentina, but one doesn't tend to say that too loudly around Brazilian competitors. One of sport's enduring and exciting rivalries. 44-year-old is the most experienced and intelligent competitor.
Right, hello, how are you?
A cerebral approach to the sport.
That is a good second ball from the Brazilian. De Oliveira just trying to make it as difficult as possible for David Smith at this point. I know it seems early in the end and early in the match in general, as we've got 4 ends per match. So we're going for ball number 6, which in his red set is a bit of a pacier ball. Let's see what it is in the blue.
Mr. Steve, hello, how are you?
Another pacey ball. So, trying to open it up a little bit more for
DJ Maximus, thank you for the beat.
man from Great Britain. Just working out exactly here whose turn it is, because if the balls are at equal distance from each other, which that blue and the red look like they could be, the person who last threw the ball that became closest would have to go again. It looks like David Smith is definitely the closer ball though here, and Jose de Oliveira looks to take his 3rd throw. Time at the top left is how long the athletes have to throw per end. So in the BC1 they're given 4 minutes per end, which means it's around 10 minutes these matches, well probably just over 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so, because you have a 1 minute break between ends.
Hi, Erga Strong, welcome, how are you doing?
BC1 gets 5 minutes. Throwing the jack is included in that time as well.
The power here and just change the shape of things.
He has left it open though for David Smith here early on in the end.
I think De Oliveira's reaction indicates he was more than aware of that, wasn't he?
I think so. David Smith, however, with an early advantage here in end 1.
Shadows, thank you for speaking.
Might go for a lob here. Yep. Has happy with that. Let's see where it's landed. Quite close to the jack, it appears, and it is the closest in this match so far. So, Jose de Oliveira steps into the box. Gonna have a quick look at it.
Hi, Paco.
Replay of this ball. Nice.
Just moments when you watch Smith and his shot selection. It's a player who has absolute mastery over objective. Big command of the field of play.
Well, number 5 is the Brazilian.
Based now in Uberaba, in Minas Gerais, in the southeast of Brazil. Both of these players relocating for sporting purposes. Quite as long a journey for Smith from Southampton to Swansea, but then when one sets into context the geography of Brazil, most nations come up with shorter internal journeys.
Do you know that? I can't believe it. Last day of summer. Cheers.
Trying to push on his own ball there, a little bit closer to the jack. Wasn't quite able to do it, however, has put 2 of the balls much closer than they were. Nice to ricochet off towards the jack.
Big Yankees, thank you for
It's been so interesting studying the delegations throughout this session.
Oh, last day of
The tension as you look at the British and Brazilian delegations is palpable. The whole atmosphere has changed with this being the semi-final stage. Muted, to say the very least. It won't be when one of them's victorious, then the whole place will to
Here
life.
in
Nobody's business.
Stone
Definitely feel the
Summer
tension in the
non-stop.
arena as these semi-final matches get underway. What that means to the Brazilian. Happy with that one. That was his final ball of the end.
Very well played one too.
Pushed on his own ball, closer to the jack. David Smith coming to have a look. That remains in his allocated time when he wants to come and see exactly what's going on in the court. But as he's got 3 minutes left to take 3 balls, he's got a little bit of time to spare. So, first end. David Smith, 3 balls remaining.
He's not a player who ever seems to lack clarity when it comes to making a decision. He makes his call, knows what he's going to do, doesn't waste time.
Easy ball. Heard David Smith cheer a little bit there. The ball did go out. So he's just trying to open it up a little bit more by removing those 2 balls that are quite close to the jack. That one remaining ball
Thank you so much,
from
Denise.
de Oliveira is still nestled in quite nicely, but there is that open gap that
do it. Though one suspects that clock seems to be running down much faster when you've got a tough decision to make.
Yeah, I'm sure it can sneak up on you quite quickly, even if you're the world number one.
Talking of which,
Final ball. It's going to be a pacey one, I think, from David Smith.
and it is.
It is, but I don't think he's won this end here. We're going to have to just take a quick look. He has not. So it'll be Jose de Oliveira's who takes a 1-0 lead in the first end. He's just come in to have a quick look at it to make sure he is happy, but you can see Chan has got one already up on the paddle. We're just seeing the replay again.
Okay, hello, how are you?
Difficult end for David Smith there, but you have to say Jose de Oliveira's has really played a defensive game there. And despite David Smith still having a couple of balls left at the end of that end, which should put him in a better position, actually impressive work from Jose de Oliveira's to stop that. So first end over, 1-0 to the Brazilian Jose de Oliveira's, with David Smith having to come back from a deficit here in the second end in the individual BC1 semi-final here at the Ariake Gymnastics Centre.
Yeah, come on. Yeah.
Well set up for compelling remainder of the contest.
Devo TV.
David Smith and
How are you doing?
Jose Oliveira.
Opa, hello, hello.
So we are to commence the second end. Second of four. And really for a player like the Brazilian who is obviously to all and sundry taking on the favourite for the competition. Then if he can inflict a little scoreboard pressure on the British athlete as the contest goes on, if he can just make small incremental advantages to force Smith to chase, well, he doesn't do a lot of chasing in contests. When he tends to be the controlling influence, then all will be well. Of course, all of that is extremely easy to hypothesise.
Jack is set, 4-2, and David Smith has played a throw that he shrugged his shoulders at because he's left the jack incredibly open for Jose de Oliveira.
Or can he now take the gift he's been given? Has been a World Championship medalist in team competitions. The World Championships in Liverpool, he finished in 7th place.
Cheers.
There's World Championships, which was won by the gentleman he's facing
Be careful. Take
today,
care.
but he is looking confident, looking well settled into this match. The 44-year-old.
Accuracy was good on that first ball from de Oliveira. Had quite an open goal there, despite it not being on his side. Thought, I don't think that ball will stay there for long. If David Smith doesn't need to do it. So that's a tight one. We might have to get out the torch for this one to see exactly who's closest.
See you soon. Waiting
Chan
where you
just taking a look.
will share your experience.
See who she decides is closer. So it's David Smith, so that could mean that they're actually quite similar in positioning. And that's why David has to go again. Or I think it means that Jose de Oliveira is just a little smidge closer.
We'll leave you all at home to argue about
from
His defending ball
Hello,
that
how are
was
you?
sitting quite close to the jack that was currently leading the way in this end.
Well, that's ended the discussion about how close things were. Emphatically, you seize control and change the destiny of the end. Great variety to his game. Different shots at his disposal. All of them technically quite masterful.
David does have a number of balls that he can use, like most players do. The next set of balls, some are softer than others, some are covered in suede, and they all have a very different point and using different parts of the end to take advantage. Players are quite similar. You'll see they all look a little bit different because some are softer, some are harder. Then the tactics really come in. You don't want to use your soft ball too early and need it a bit later. You also don't want to use a harder one and then need a smash.
Milo,
played a shot of
maybe
quality.
he not come back yet from his travel.
Opening up this match just once again is Jose de Oliveira.
Brazilian team
I know
brought
that,
a very strong
that Milo driving
group of
now.
athletes to the 2019 Pan American Games. They were the dominant force in Boccia, winning
much better,
7 medals, 3 of them
much
gold.
better than yesterday
Many of
and
those
before
competitors
yesterday.
now here in Tokyo, including the gentleman that you're looking at.
Fools, hello. Good to
Oliveira
see
just
you.
coming out of the box to have a better look at the
Milo,
positions of all the
welcome
balls on the
back.
court.
How are you?
2 minutes left of his 5 allocated minutes. To make sure all the wheels are included inside the box, or you do face a penalty. So that means you have to concentrate on the positioning to get the best shot. You also have to make sure that you are legal in the game.
Bon appetit, Milo.
So he's actually pushed off the wrong ball, I would say there. He's pushed David Smith a little bit closer to the jack, which is probably not what he was after. Still plenty to come though in this end. He's still got 3 balls remaining. That's a better shot. He'll
Good
be happy
recovery
with that.
shot that, wasn't it?
David Smith still the ball that is closer as it stands, but Jose de Oliveira definitely trying to open this end up a little bit more. Interesting to see. All blue one side, all red the other side. 1 minute is called then for the Brazilian with 2 balls remaining.
Hi, hey, good to see you. How are you doing?
left to do it in. 3 minutes and 3
How are you
balls.
doing?
And he's been given a little bit of a gift there. If he can capitalise on that.
It's to be regarded, is it not, as a major opportunity for the 32-year-old from Great Britain.
Making 1-0 in this end, in this game.
Oh,
Excellent.
well, that will go some way to allowing him to finish this end on a high. That was beautifully played, and now there is enticing space for David Smith to work with.
You just hear him say, I thought that felt good. It was good, David.
Looked good.
It's cleared 3 balls in one swoop. Look at that. That is excellent. That not only is an excellent shot, but it's also given him potential 2-0 lead. Just checking the score. Doing the same as me. Not sure about that blue. Looks a little bit further out. So let's see what Wei Chan has to say, the referee.
Yes,
to
we
go
just
have a look
discussed that
himself.
today, last
Oh, my
day
apologies.
of
No, he
summer.
wanted the number of the ball.
But here, on this channel, summer, every time.
Ball closer. That'll be 3-0 as it stands, I believe. A real chance here for David Smith in this semi-final. You have to say this is going to be a positive end to this second part of this match. As we fought, my reckoning.
Well, throughout the session, the point you've been making is that it is so quick for a contest to turn around. It takes so little time, and that has been borne out in this conclusion to the second end. And it's a tough way back now. Jose de Oliveira.
Let's see, it's this ball here we're just going to check out and see exactly settling through, but it's that resting ball there that we're just going to double check at. So, referee is making a decision, and we could have said that before we even took off the paddle. That is a 4-4 for blue. So David Smith then turning it around in the second end. It was the
Yes,
Brazilian Jose de
it's tough.
Oliveira who won the first end, but David Smith has
And
come
if
back
you
into
start
this
to
and
dance-
taken a 4-1 lead heading into the
Will be even
halfway
better.
point of this semi-final for the individual BC1, looking to book their place into the final.
It's one of the enduring cliches of sports psychology, of sports journalism to say it, but cliches often have an element of truth in them, and big players take advantage of doors that are ajar, and that door was left open by Jose de Oliveira. Now, some players might have come away with a couple of points out of it, maybe 3. Smith, the kind of player who just takes every single chance. It's a big score. Big performance as well from the world number 1.
Cheers.
2016 Paralympic BC1 individual champion as well as teams. So here we go into N3, where it is going to be Jose de Oliveira who sets the jack, trailing 4-1 in this third end.
One would be foolish to write off this gentleman. Been playing now for a couple of decades. He has achieved huge success at international level. He was given a most prestigious award at the Sports Memorial Tribute in Uberaba, where he's now based, last year, recognising those who've made a quite exemplary contribution to the history of sport in the city, trying to make a little more history here in Tokyo.
It's a good ball from Jose de Oliveira to start there. It's not quite touching the jack, but you don't really want it to for the first one, because you want to try and defend the jack as much as you can, even just with one ball on the court, and he has done that quite well here against David Smith, trying to make it as difficult as he can for
nice.
the world number
I can
one.
imagine.
Pacey smash there, opening it up a little bit. You can see from David Smith's expression afterwards that he hoped it might open up a little bit more, I think. But regardless, he has opened the jack up and he's given himself more of an advantage.
It's rare that David Smith exudes an air of dissatisfaction, so he'll obviously tend to play. Probably what is dissatisfying to David Smith would be most satisfactory to a lot of other players. So high is the level that he's capable of. For that reason and many others, made a member of the most excellent order of the British Empire in 2017. His opponent's day, he's been recognised for his extraordinary contribution to Olympic sport. First time he ever played the sport was at the National Junior Games at Stoke Mandeville. Yeah, that name reappearing once again, as it often does, as the spiritual home of the Paralympic movement. Dry smile.
See why on that second ball there was that little smile that came out, because a tiny bit less pace and it would have not ricocheted off the jack quite so intensely. It's still the closest ball, however, it's not quite the placement I think he was after there. But at the moment, at this point, N3, he's leading 4-1 in the match.
Now, do we arrive at one of those interesting comparison points that could be considered something of an opening given to de Oliveira, when de Oliveira gave Smith a chance? Okay, that was more concrete a chance. Smith absolutely capitalised. And that's a good shot played by the Brazilian.
Good shot. I think the difference you'd have to say at the point for the last end was where we were with the end. It was David Smith who had all the balls remaining and all the time and everything in his pocket really to capitalise and take that 4-0 end win. Whereas where we're at now, there's still quite a way of the end to go. 4 balls remaining for David Smith and 4 as well for Jose de Oliveira. Excellent.
He's just got lovely technique, hasn't he? Beautiful to watch and play.
Still a good chance here though for Jose de Oliveira, because he might be nestled up next to the jack, but he's still got a good red ball there that he could push on a little closer. But he's going to have to think about removing that blue ball first, or pushing the jack out a little bit.
super
plenty
productive today.
open there for Jose de Oliveira. Trying to push on there. That's a nice shot. Trying to push on his ball a little bit closer to the jack, and he seems to have done that pretty well after that shot. Nice, and you can see the defence now that David Smith is going to have to make his way through, and it's a defence of 4 balls. Going for a pacey ball, I think, here.
Well, this is encouraging the spectacular. Smith tends to deal in the spectacular.
And that's a good smash, didn't they? Open up the field again for him.
Here it comes.
So, the Red Bull's still dominating the jack as it stands at the moment, but he's suddenly given himself a few gaps there. Excellent smash from the world number 1 David Smith, 32 years old, 4th Paralympic Games.
Oh, in the chat.
So
Oh,
good, isn't he?
welcome. How are you doing?
Changing entirely the shape of an end with one single delivery.
Nave Zilla, hey.
Shot of the
How are
game so
you?
far for me was in the second end, where he managed to remove 3 balls away from the jack in one smash, and it was quite incredible. So look, he's opened it up completely now with 1 ball remaining.
You
However,
can
I have to
recommend
think
the
here that
song,
Jose de Oliveira
but
still has
if
quite
I
a
will
few
like, I will play next
balls
week.
remaining and enough time
Sure.
to do it in. So he has opened it up for himself. We have to say here that David Smith has opened it up as well for his opposition. So, final ball.
Will help. Now it's going to be fascinating to see exactly what his senior opponent is able to produce. We go back to the comparison point, the conclusion of the second end, when there were palpable gaps left by de Oliveira for Smith. Now we have almost a mirror image. De Oliveira took his opportunity.
Cheers.
Feels as though we're at the narrative stage of the match where we say to ourselves, this is a chance he's got to take.
2 balls then remaining for the Brazilian. 1 minute about to be called. Plenty of time. To see the angle of that one. Still the blue ball closer as it stands. But de Oliveira still with a great chance here. Push on his own ball a little bit on the jack.
Oh, there's the crucial one. That's magnificent.
That was an incredible ball from the Brazilian. Managed to push off David Smith's ball, the blue ball that was there, and nestle it in close to the jack. Look at that. 3 then. It looks like it could be 4 for the Brazilian, Jose de Oliveira. And this is what I mean when I say Boccia can change very quickly. And it can. So let's just see if it is 3 or 4.
Well, you thought you'd seen the shot of the Paralympic Games from Smith in the previous end. De Oliveira disagreed. He said, you like that? Here's this one for you. That was a virtuoso display.
Hi, Jose.
4 apiece. No
How are you?
wonder the Brazilian delegation reacts as they do.
That is final.
everybody. Thank you.
The BC1 individual mixed matches. We're going into the final end.
Simone, thank you for supporting mom. How are you?
We're going to have to get popcorn ready for this one because I think we're in for a tense final end. 5 minutes then set on the clock. Advantage is to David Smith, who will set the jack.
Tension, anxiety. That's just us. He seems to be fine.
I was going to say, he's fine. Another short ball then for David Smith. A softer jack playing, it sounds like, here as it has contact with the court. What type of ball it really sounds like. First ball is to be placed by the world number one. An excellent start from David Smith. First ball needs to defend the jack, and that's exactly what he's done at this point. So let's see Jose de Oliveira, his first ball.
There is no doubting the excellence of this gentleman as a player. No doubting the quality he had when it comes to producing moments of absolute magic. The winning last shot was quite spectacular. What will be so interesting to see is how he now handles being so very close to the Paralympic final when he has so often been so very close to the Paralympic final and not quite been there.
Tensions are high at the Ariake Gymnastics Centre.
Barely a flicker of movement in the delegations there. They're glued to this. I'm sure you are as well, watching at home. What a pleasure it is to have your company for such a moment of high drama.
Jose Oliveira, closest at this point. So that means it's David Smith's go. 6 balls these players have per end. They must get as many balls as they can closest to the jack from their opponent.
The reigning Paralympic world European champion, the man who's won the lot.
Pleased to see that one. Placement was a little off, but 4 more balls to go. 4 minutes to throw them in. If he gets the ball closer to the jack, it then becomes Jose de Oliveira. It becomes his go.
What both of these players have demonstrated most ably to their opponent is that if they're given a chance, if there's a loose shot, they will capitalise, they will punish their opponent, and that perhaps increases the level of anxiety that the player feels in such a dramatic moment.
Measurement is out. I think that's David Smith being closer, but I will trust the measurements over my eye. Let's see what looks like it is closer. The blue ball just slightly closer to the jack at this point, 4 all. So it is Jose de Oliveira who looks to come back on this.
Hey, Chris.
Tension.
How are you?
That this match is getting here in the Ariake Gymnastics Centre is fascinating. There's an increasing collection of people gathering with cameras around, people scampering past our commentary position to get down to the field of play and to get the crucial shot as they look to get the crucial shot.
The matches are ending around us as well, so this one definitely captivating quite a few, including us. Still includes you at home. That is an excellent shot from Jose de Oliveira. Look how much it means to the top, a shot with intention of playing the ball, and it remains on top of another ball, and it is literally what it says on the tin. Trying to score points against David Smith, and every point at this point is really going to matter. So, David Smith, the man, up next. 3 balls remaining. 3 minutes left to do it.
De Oliveira has produced 2 of his finest shots of the entire Paralympic Games in the last few minutes. Oh, that's the end of that then. Gone, just like that. Cheerio. I mean, that's got to be tough to take if you are the Brazilian.
This is what I mean about if you use your soft ball too early or you use your hard ball too early. And David Smith hasn't. He's brought it through. He's kept that harder ball to be able to smash through the entire field. Gives himself once again the advantage in this semi-final.
Smith says to De Oliveira, now what have you got? Oliveira handed his reply.
Anything like his previous shot.
May well be that kind of match where it is a moment of mercurial brilliance that takes this victory for one of these players and sends them into the final. That was played exquisitely off the quality that we're seeing here.
Incredible match between these 2 players. Just watch this line, and the accuracy of that ball, not to touch, even just slightly touch David Smith's blue ball. He has left it. The placement was beautiful. If David Smith didn't have any balls left, would be my thought on that, because it does leave it open now for David Smith to be able to remove that that red ball, but the advantage might remain Jose de Oliveira, who has 3 balls remaining, whereas David Smith's only got this 1. And that could be the shot that gets him through to the final. What a brilliant effort from David Smith, the world #1 there. You can see what it meant to him as well, the cheering, but now it is incredibly tense because we have 3 balls remaining for Jose de Oliveira's, and David Smith has run out of balls.
It feels as though we've had about half a dozen match-winning shots that have been played in the last 5-10 minutes or so. The quality is worthy of the semi-final stage of the Paralympic Games.
My maths just slightly letting me down there. 1 more ball remaining for David Smith. And as we know, 1 ball can change an entire match here. So De Oliveira with 3 balls remaining, 1 minute left to do it. That means the shots won't be taken, they'll be taken much quicker than maybe he would want them to be. A lob there. Probably didn't quite work out how he hoped it would. 2 balls remaining. 55 seconds to do it in.
The psychology of this situation is fascinating, excruciating, depending on who you're supporting. He's under real pressure. Time does not favour him.
It's one of the most tense matches we've seen so far. 4 all in the 4th end, looking to put their place into the... Oh, that could have been... So what Jose Oliveira was trying to do there is push the jack further away from David Smith. Wasn't quite able to do it on that ball. Let's see what we've got in the final delivery. Double check that is the final. This will be the final delivery for Jose de Oliveira. And the match comes down to these final 2 balls. So that is as it stands, David Smith, who has booked his place into the finals of the BC1 individual matches. Let's just get confirmation with his final ball. He might not take it. Let's see what he's deciding to do.
You can have nothing but sympathy for José de Oliveira, who has played an absolutely superb contest. And he's come out of it, as so many come out of things, second best to David Smith. But, well, it's been a brilliant display. It's been a wonderful occasion in terms of the quality of shot selection. And David Smith will know that he was given a right old fight by José de Oliveira.
So the dream is not over for David Smith to battle it out for gold in the individual BC1. The finals coming up, but it will be David Smith who books his place into the finals. Commiserations for the Brazilian José de Oliveira. Some fantastic shots from the Brazilian, especially in those final two ends, and it was a tense end for everybody here. Celebrations from the Great Britain team. Confirmation there of the 7-4 win for David Smith in this semi-final, and it is the 32-year-old that will be meeting someone in the final. What a fantastic match we've just seen there between these two. The world number 5 versus the world number 1. It went to 4-all in the final end. And we saw some fantastic shots from both players. Some really impressive play. And it was one of the most tense matches I think I've ever watched of Boccia. But it will be David Smith who is into the finals. He will win either gold or silver in these Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. The reigning world champion, the reigning Paralympic champion. And can he do it again? We'll find out.
Contain ourselves.
Have a lovely time.
We don't know whether to be quiet, we don't know whether to keep talking. Well, you probably want us to be quiet listening at home, but we must reflect upon the most extraordinarily dramatic of conclusions to this Boccia action at the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. It ends with advancement for David Smith into the gold medal contest, but one of just a number of enthralling, engrossing stories that we've seen in the Ariake Gymnastics Centre. It's been a great advertisement for the sport.
So what a day we've seen in the boccia here. It's been a fantastic day of semi-final action at the Ariake Gymnastics Centre. For day 4 of the boccia tournament, David Smith was the first on court. The world number 1 managed to win 6-1 in the end there. Then we saw the Australian Daniel Michel taking on Adam Peshke. Peshke was the winner there, 4-3. And we've just seen a fantastic semi-final with David Smith booking himself into the finals of the individual BC1 competition at the Ariake Gymnastics Centre, beating Jose de Oliveira. Finally here, 7-4. What a day we've seen. Finals coming up. Who will win gold in the BC1 individual mixed category?